Good evening. Tonight, for the finale of Series 1, we thought we would answer some viewer questions and tie up some loose ends from the previous episodes. So let's get right to it. Mr. Webb, in the Copernicus episode, you mentioned that the orbits of Mercury and Venus were even stranger than that of Mars, but then you never explained how the Copernican model accounts for this. What gives? Well, you're right. Since both planets are closer to the Sun than the Earth, we don't pass them on the inside, they pass us.
From the Earth, they look something like a tethered ball swinging around a pole. Well, maybe it's more like this, if you imagine the tree as the horizon.
Mr. Webb, all of the great detectives had secretaries who were also love interests. Sam Spade had Effie, George Valentine had Brooksy, Mike Hammer had Velda, and I'm sure there are more that I'm forgetting. When are you going to get yourself a beautiful assistant? Maybe that barista girl from... Well, I am a happily married man, but I'm hoping that my caseload increases enough that I need an assistant. Stay tuned. Dear Mr. Webb, I love outdoor winter sports too. But what were you doing to your skis in the winter sports episode?
Waxing them. You see, a lot of skis these days have a texture on the bottom that creates some traction to push off, but allows you to slide forward once you're moving. But, like any hybrid, this is a less than ideal compromise. Since neither the grip nor the glide is great, I prefer smooth skis that you wax as snow conditions demand. I'm planning on doing a ski waxing episode in the future, if you're interested in learning more.
Dear Mr. Webb, great show, thank you. What kind of telescope was that in the Meteor episode? It was a homemade refractor. Does it surprise you that I make telescopes and mounts for myself? It shouldn't.
This is a 6-inch refractor with the tube, focuser connector, and equatorial head made out of standard, widely available plumbing parts. The optics are the most important part of any telescope, and when I make the rest, I never hesitate to tinker and try and improve things. If I make a mistake, I can always build it again.
Mr. Webb, why don't you have more good-looking women on the show? In every James Bond... I think we'll move on. Mr. Webb, I'm having trouble waking up in time for school after the spring forward time change. Do you have any advice? Well, I have trouble getting up too, but the best I've come up with is to stay up late enough to see 2 a.m. become 3 a.m. on that night. Then, if you get up at a normal time the next day, you'll be tired enough to go to bed early and get a full night's sleep. After that, you should be pretty well adjusted to the new time. Mr. Webb, in the iMovie episode, you asked what not enough media meant, but then you never answered your own question. Right again. I hinted at the answer, but I never explicitly said it.
In the diagram where I showed what the program would need to do to keep the total movie length the same, those were the still frames that it does not add. Or there could be some moving frames that you have hidden in the event library, like this.
Or the media could be you standing still at the beginning and end of the clip. The program needs something to overlap that you can do without in your movie's content. Well, I think we have time for one more. Mr. Webb, my dog ate my homework, but my teacher won't believe me. Help! Even though dogs are man's best friends, they do have an annoying tendency to chew on things that you need the most. This is the inner sole of my cross-country ski boot.
As you can see, I got to it just in time.
Teachers, the classic canine homework excuse may be cliche, but it is entirely possible. You should probably let your student redo the work. Well, that's about all for this episode, and that's about all for this series of Knowledge Investigations. We'll be back soon to continue our exploration of the totality of human knowledge. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Mark Webb.